What's up guys, it's the NJB here, and today I'm going to be talking about Real Madrid's transfers this season. So, I think Real Madrid has made some decent transfers this season, but I do think there's a lot of room for improvement in what they're trying to go for. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, first of all, let's just talk about the people basically in charge of the transfers and what Real Madrid is going for now compared to in the past. So before, everyone pretty much knows about the Galactico program, or kind of like mindset Madrid had. If there was a world-class player, no matter which team they played for, Real Madrid would aim to sign them. And I guess that started mainly in the mid, say 2000s to 2010. And then after that, it kind of slowed down a bit. They were still signing good players, but it wasn't as like, they weren't trying to sign every single good player, or they didn't successfully sign every single good top player that there was available. I mean, Real Madrid has even tried to sign Messi from Barcelona a few times, as we did see come up in past years. But I guess after 3 Champions League wins and I guess a treble, or somewhat trebled the league and the Champions League 2 years ago, Florentino Perez has decided to change that, and they decided to just focus on improving the youth players and signing good young talents. So there is kind of a problem with this mentality. For one, Real Madrid has some very clear weaknesses in their lineup. For one, the forward line is horrible. I mean, Benzema and Bale, while they are some very talented players, their goal scoring numbers have declined greatly, especially Benzema. And honestly, I don't think anyone can defend Benzema anymore. In the past, people used to say that he used to help the forwards like Ronaldo and Bale score goals. He used to help with the attacking play. Now he doesn't do any of that. Now he's pretty much poor wherever he plays. He can't score goals enough to help Real Madrid win games. He doesn't stay up front. He's just not a menace to other teams. I mean, other teams have already said that without Ronaldo, they can focus more on attacking Real Madrid rather than just defending and trying to keep their goals safe from Ronaldo. They didn't say any of that against Bale or Benzema, so it clearly means that they're not scared of them and they're not threatening players to play against. And with 5 goals in about 35 games, I believe, or around that amount last season, I don't see why Real Madrid would not aim to sign a new striker. I mean, there have been strikers on the market that Real Madrid could have signed for many years. They could have went all out to sign Lewandowski. They could have went all out to sign Aubameyang. They could have went all out to sign pretty much any striker they wanted. I mean, this is Real Madrid we're talking about. No top striker would deny or turn away from Real Madrid. The only other team that could get a forward to play for them instead of Real Madrid is probably Barcelona. But other than that, no one would turn down going to Real Madrid and playing for the #1 Champions League team. Also, if you watch Real Madrid play, the team does look pretty average. They lack creativity. All they really do is just like ping pong. They're passing the ball around and they're trying to wait for an opening to happen rather than having like creative players to create chances, taking on players, using skills, tricks, pretty much what you'd expect attacking players to do, kind of like Neymar would do, Mbappe, Messi, Suarez, just what those players would do for their respective teams. Madrid doesn't have players doing that, and it's really starting to show. The only player who does it on Real Madrid is Isco. I mean, when you watch Isco play, like, he's different from all the rest. I mean, while Cruz and Modric just aim to keep passing the ball to open players, Isco, he gets the ball, he passes it to open players, but he gets the ball and turns and takes it upfield and creates threats for the other team. And Madrid need more midfielders and forwards like that. So, without players like that, it would beg the question, why don't Real Madrid just sign more players like that, or aim to bring more good attacking first team players to actually improve the squad? Well, we don't know. The only players Real Madrid has really brought into the first team to attack, I'd say, has to be Vinicius Jr., and that was in the first part of the season. And there was quite a few games where Real Madrid had the chance to put him on, but they didn't. I mean, Real Madrid, first of all, they brought him in and they made him play for Real Madrid Castilla. So, first of all, when Real Madrid is in deep need, I mean, going 17 points behind Barcelona at the end of last season is pitiful enough. When they're in deep need of attacking players and pretty much a squad rehaul, You need to put more players on and get them a chance to prove themselves and let them know that the club is behind them and supporting them. But Real Madrid put him on the B team and then eventually brought him into the first team and still didn't play him that much. I mean, he was getting like sometimes 10 minutes and then they bumped up to like 20 minutes a game. I mean, that's just not good for Madrid, especially when Vinicius is a pretty good talent, and at the moment I don't expect him to score like 50 goals a season, but he probably could, but it's going to take a while. Other than Vinicius, they did bring in Brahim Diaz later on, but he's still a youngster. Even in City, he was a talented player, but he still hasn't proven himself to be a completely dependable first team player who's going to help you win games like that. I mean, he still needs time to develop, and I just don't understand what Real Madrid are going for. Now, from their other signings, we can tell that they weren't just committed to signing in young players, because they kind of did contradict themselves with Courtois. I guess Odriozola is fairly young, but he was there. I mean, he's not a player that you can say is going to sit on your bench all season. He has to play. And the final player they actually brought in to help with attack was Mariano Diaz. So I think out of all these transfers, I think the two that I think were kind of weird were Mariano Diaz and Thibaut Courtois, because first of all, Real Madrid did not need a new keeper, and if they were going to get a new keeper, they should have signed like a really good keeper. And the only one I can think of that would be worth buying would be David De Gea. Other than that, Thibaut Courtois, personally, I think he's good, but I think he's been pretty overrated throughout his time. I mean, naturally, when your team goes to the semifinal in the World Cup, and when you've been on the winning team in England, beat Chelsea for years, of course people are going to rate pretty much all players in the squad highly. I mean, even if there's trash players, if they're on a winning team, people are always going to rate them highly, say that they're part of the team won, they're good. But I don't think Courtois is that great of a keeper. But I'm not here to criticize him. I'm just here to criticize the transfer move from Real Madrid. And I don't see why you can win 3 Champions Leagues in a row with the same keeper, Keylor Navas, and you have a good backup keeper, Kiko Garcia, and you still feel the need to go out and waste money on Courtois. I just don't see the reason for that. Now, the other signing that confuses me is Mariano Diaz. So I don't understand why Real Madrid felt the need to buy him if they weren't really going to use him. He had an excellent season at Lyon, his first season in Lyon, and he scored 18 goals, and he was really good with Naby Fekir and Memphis Depay. But Real Madrid's only striker only managed to score 5 goals last season. So you'd think that if they're going to sign a younger striker who did better in the league last season, they'd start him and give him more chances to play, right? Well, Real Madrid didn't do that. Real Madrid kept starting Karim Benzema. They barely gave Mariano Diaz enough game time, and they put him in like later on in the season. So they did start to give him some game time, but I just don't think that they gave him the time that he should have had. They did use the option they had to buy him back, so clearly they did see something they liked in him and they thought he would be helpful for the team, but they brought him back just to bench him, and I'm getting kind of tired of seeing Real Madrid do that to potentially good players that we could have on a team. So Real Madrid wasn't using him, and to me it doesn't make a lot of sense why not. I mean, he's proven to be a pretty good striker. I don't know why they don't just give him a chance. And it kind of lets you know that Real Madrid do think that some areas on the team do need refining or changing, but they don't want to change the most important parts, which are the midfield and the forward line. I mean, in defense, I say the defense isn't quite like it used to be. Marcelo isn't really that great a defender anymore. Personally, I used to think he was great at attacking and defending fairly evenly, but now he just leaves too much space behind him and he usually falls short, and teams have said that they've tried to exploit him. But Real Madrid doesn't really look to reinforce these areas at the pitch. They didn't sign a world-class left back. I mean, Marcelo, he is world-class, but you do need a more out-and-out defender, and Marcelo could, for all I care, like play forward for anything. But signing a striker and a winger that can score plenty of goals this season, I think would be key for Real Madrid. And one thing Real Madrid do that kind of contradict their new transfer philosophy is that they claim that they don't want to spend money on big targets and they only want to sign young players for the future. But we still hear strong rumors about them trying to sign Neymar from PSG for over 200 million pounds. So it's clear that whoever's in charge of Real Madrid's signings, definitely Perez, isn't making any sense. I mean, this new transfer strategy is ridiculous, and it's really hurting the team. And it is, like, if Real Madrid's not careful, it is going to hurt them in the long run. But the point is, they don't even need to try and spend that much money on certain players to get some good attacking, goal-scoring players on the team. They can try and sign like Timo Werner. He's been a very good striker in RB Leipzig, and I think it's only a matter of time before he moves to a big team. And if no one does anything, it's definitely going to be Bayern without a doubt. They can sign Anthony Martial. He's still a talented player, and his goal-scoring numbers aren't that bad this season, especially playing under Mourinho. And if you consider that pretty much the only player who hasn't really fallen off that much since Mourinho became the manager of Man U has been Pogba. I mean, arguably, you could say he's probably not worth that price tag, but let's be honest, who can be? And he's still a world-class player. Even watching him during Mourinho was there, he's still a world-class player. But most other players have really gone downhill. I mean, and they've not been the same since going to Man U. But Martial has still managed to be pretty influential, pretty talented, and playing well. Maybe he's not playing like he should, but he's still pretty talented. And I think if he went to Real Madrid, he would be pretty influential in helping them be more successful and turn their current situation around. They can also sign Flovin Thauvin, who's had some excellent goal-scoring numbers over the past few seasons. They can sign Naby Fekir from Lyon, or Depay from Lyon. They can sign just pretty much any player they want. I mean, this is Real Madrid we're talking about. And if you're gonna spend, if you're willing to spend 200 million on one specific player, there's no reason you can't spend it on a handful of players who can basically fit into that. They can, all those transfers can amount to that price, and they could help the team overall. But Real Madrid isn't doing that. Real Madrid is sticking with their front line, Benzema, Bale, sticking with the current team, and is still holding on to past success because it doesn't seem like they're willing to do what it takes to improve the team and just change their season around. Real Madrid, they seem to want to stick with their main lineup. They seem to believe in their starting lineup no matter what. And the only way that other people get a chance to prove themselves at Madrid is if the starters get injured. I mean, the only other player who's managed to come into Real Madrid recently who has probably been able to steal a starting lineup for himself is Marcos Llorente. And I really hope he does become a starter for Real Madrid. I mean, personally, I think Casemiro has been very helpful for Real Madrid, but I think Llorente is just, I pick Llorente over him. Llorente's just much more energetic. When he gets the ball, he doesn't do a simple one-touch to the closest player near him. He actually looks upfield. He looks to see how he can move the ball upfield and pass forward. And Real Madrid just need more players like that. Also, he's young. He's from Real Madrid's academy, and it'll just be excellent if Real Madrid can just keep using a player like him and, yeah, just show that he's a talented player, and there are talented players at Real Madrid that they're willing to use, and they're going to give more people a chance to prove themselves and not just waste time with the same players who haven't really been doing well for us in the past year. So that's all I have to say for Real Madrid. To sum it all up, I think Real Madrid's transfers are pretty poor. They're not signing bad players, but they're signing players to basically put them on the bench and save them and try and see if they can develop to be world-class players. They're signing potentially good players, but when you're not utilizing them enough and you're just wasting them by not playing them as much, it's not going to benefit anybody, especially not Real Madrid, who need a squad rehaul. Players like Benzema and Bale should not be starting. In fact, I think Real Madrid should have sold them a long time ago. I mean, I guess people would have called me crazy if I said that years ago, but now that we see the end result, you can see that without Ronaldo, you can clearly see that Benzema and Bale are not reliable players, and that Real Madrid does need some help. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Ian JB. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? You think I'm just a hater now and I'm an ex-fan or whatever? Or do you think there's some truth to it? Or do you got something else to add? Thanks for watching the whole video if you stayed till the end. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, mate.